Hello and welcome into ANF Plus Sports Tonight. My name is Ellie Parker here with Connor Hines.
Ellie, how you doing?
It's been good. It's been good.
Yeah.
I took a week off to go visit family
Nice. Back in the
out
saddle.
of state. And
Don't you love coming back to work after just spending a whole week off?
I miss my niece. She's 4.5 months old at this point. Almost
Oh my
five.
gosh.
She turned 5 months old tomorrow.
Wow.
She's very cute. She's
Good.
one of the cutest things I've ever seen.
Love to hear
I
it.
love her.
Good.
This is my first time seeing her in person. I'm back in the saddle, back here on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And God, we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we
First up, Falcons Cowboys. Falcons bouncing back
How about that?
with a win this past weekend.
How about that?
And of course, you have the Cowboys coming up on Sunday.
Yeah. Ellie, this is a sneaky game, as they tend to be for the Falcons this year.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, what matters is you pulled it out on the road in Tampa, and you're in the driver's seat of the NFC South. But remember, this is also a team that kind of laid an egg at home against a really bad Seattle Seahawks team. There are characteristics of the Cowboys that are similar to that Seattle team that kind of came in there and just ran all over Atlanta. And, you know, you would hope that the Falcons have learned a thing or two about, you know, taking care of business, so to speak, against these teams you should take care of. But, you know, Dallas is having an underperforming year, but it's not to say that they're playing for nothing, you know. So this is going to be a tightly contested game. And, look, Falcons are finding a way to do it right now, right? They're in the driver's seat
They're
of the
finding
NFC
ways,
South.
man. They're winning games they shouldn't. They're
And they're
losing
probably
games.
losing.
They're losing games they shouldn't do. They shouldn't have lost to the Seahawks. But
Yeah.
you know they're finding a way. They're finding a way.
And that's what matters. So Raheem Morris out at Flowery Branch today, he was, addressing some of the questions coming from reporters about this matchup, right? And, you know, what is it going to take to put together a full 60 minutes? And easier said than done for this team right now, but let's go ahead and hear from Coach.
Obviously, on their offense, very highly explosive team, you know, with Dak and that receiver, 88, man, they've been dominant since he's been in the National Football League. They got a bunch of guys that's been able to play around those guys and play really well, you know, at the tight end position in particular. They've been explosive all over the place with all their wideouts. They struggle a little bit in the run game, obviously, this year, but, you know, that is still Ezekiel Elliott. And if he decides to open up, he can, as we all know. They've been really dangerous on defense over the years, rushing the passer, been able to do some of those different things and how they can do it and how they can generate a pass rush. They got a lot of veteran presence up there at their linebacker position with Kendricks. They're moving over from Minnesota with their new coordinator in Zimmer. The expected things that always happens when you're a new coordinator, you implement your system, they have a little bit of struggles, and then you catch up, and as the season goes, you get better and better. So that's what they've been looking like. From a special team standpoint, it's bones, man. You always got to be ready for everything under the sun. You know, all types of fakes, readiness, preparation, extremely detailed is what he's been doing over the years, and he's been one of the better special team coaches in the National Football League. We've got to go see a good old friend, C. Goodwin. He was out there too, you know, out there dominating out at gunner.
Just want to see about Justin Simmons too.
Justin Simmons should be back on his normal program. He'll be out today, probably have some modified stuff with him, but he'll be looking forward to him getting back and potentially being ready to go this week. Sorry about that, Mark. I do not come up with I do not travel with the injury list. I kind of make my decisions and just make you guys ask me who you want to talk about.
I know we've been talking about it a lot, but when it comes to
We cannot rush the passer, and we got to get better, Allison.
but do you see, like, obviously you look at quarterback hits and that kind of stuff, but do you see maybe that there's some progress in the direction when your DBs are able to get interceptions and cause forced fumbles? Like, does that mean that maybe they are getting the pressure?
Yes, Allison, it's all tied in together. And, you know, not to cut you off, but I was just laughing at your intent. She just loves me so much she don't want to be mean. Just ask the pass rush questions like some of these other jerks that normally would do it. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's just we can't we're not doing a great job of rushing the passer individually. right? We have gotten better with our ability to rush the passer. Last week was kind of an anomaly. We fell off a little bit and didn't get to him as nearly as much as you need to when a guy's able to drop back and pass the ball that way. But we have forced the ball to come out quicker. Some of them have been completions. Most of them have been completions, right? So you want to play a little bit tighter coverage to give them more time to get there. But with that being said, some of the balls come out quickly. He's made quick decisions, and AJ's been able to make plays, or Jesse's been able to make plays, or whatever the case may be, the shoot awareness and getting to the football to when you do want the check down, or you do want the underneath stuff thrown, being able to get there faster and corral those guys and get them on the ground faster. So, like, all of that stuff plays a part, but you're definitely right. We still got to increase our pass rush. You know, nobody's setting excuses for those guys. We have seen, you know, different practice performance than we've seen game performance, and that's the thing you got to change.
With being a defensive-minded coach, like, do you feel like you have to kind of step in a little bit more and help out more, or are you still kind of, because that's more of your area?
I do it all, Allison. I'm an offensive coach, defensive coach, and then, you know, realistically, special teams coach. You got to be able to help out in any aspect and area that you possibly can, and like definitely feel the urgency and the need from all of our guys. You know, our coaches do such a great job of even talking about it, and our players do such a great job of trying to execute it. I got so much confidence in us getting better and better throughout the system and throughout the year that I really feel good that it's going to be where it needs to be when it has to be there.
Is there any point where you're just like, all right, it's, you know, we're through 8 weeks now, 6 sacks, something's not working, we need to, you know, fix, we need to tweak this, we need to do this. Is that any consideration? Like, hey, we gotta change what we're doing.
Mark, I think you constantly tweak, so it's never like it's no hard-headed coaching that's ever involved with any of that type of stuff. You know, you've done a different amount of things. You've seen zero blitzes, you've seen pressures, you've seen four-man rushes, you've seen the ability to play sticky coverage, you've seen off coverage, allowing stuff to go underneath. So it kind of changes from a week-to-week basis, but it's just never a hard-headed mentality. So it's always going to be tweaks and things you got to get better at. And you'll look at that every single play, every single week, every single down. You have to. There's no question about that. You got to always be willing to change and do different things.
Does that put a lot of stress on the secondary? I mean, they played, you know, pretty well this season overall, but, you know, when you can't get to the passer. You know.
I don't think you look at it that way. You know, somewhat it provides a little bit of opportunity for him. You know, we haven't seen AJ get 2 picks in a very long time, if ever. And right now he's at the ability to get 2 picks. Jesse Bates is making plays all over the place. So those guys have played extremely well in different areas, different times of the game, especially timely last week and getting the ball back for us. So, like, I wouldn't necessarily call it pressure. I just call it what the business entails. You know, like, you got to do whatever you got to do to win that football game, and that's what those guys have been doing. I'm very proud of them.
You guys, I think you're second to last in the time of possession.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that speaks directly to the ability to kind of get those sacks and
Earlier
the ball back quicker?
Earlier was a reflection of not getting off on third down, and then last week it was a reflection of not getting off on third down a lot of those times. And then some of those things in our instance last week was a case of actually getting turnovers. When they have the ball for a minute, Jesse punches it out, gets it, and we get the short field and score. That's a little bit of that too, but definitely something that we've always looked into when it comes to time of possession and how you want to handle that. So, like, being able to run the football and control it that way, the management of where you kick the ball to, and being able to win on third downs are highly significant points that come with the time of possession that we've looked at throughout the season, in the course of the season, and being able to change that within the game. I think at halftime or something like that versus Tampa, it was like 9 minutes to whatever it was, to 20. And it's like we found a way to close the gap on that in the second half to make it even close, but still losing the battle throughout the game, but being able to win the football game.
Is that more on the offense, though, or is that kind of the defense allowing these long, doing a lot of long drives?
Time of possession is like a team stat, you know, so like it's all encompassing. So, like, you know, allowing drives, like we said, being able not to get off of some of those third downs, but also scoring quickly, you know, like, or when you get to short field, having the ability to score. Short field right at the back, bang, I'm never going to complain about scoring fast. That'd be silly of me, but, like, that's all a part of it.
Would you guys, at some point, though, I know it's maybe saying you are constantly changing, at some point, do you think with the trade deadline coming, like, we need to add help maybe? Like, that's, you can only do so much with what you have?
Terry is like the greatest in the world. So he's constantly looking, constantly talking. Those things, we try to get better everywhere. So, like, he's always going to be about his process, you know. Pace, Kyle Smith, all those guys upstairs, Tumbo, they're steadily grinding, and they'll always have those opportunities. And, you know, right now it's just become more popular in the National Football League to talk about than it used to be. But now it's a lot more popular to talk about. There's a lot more sellers for the most part than there used to be. I was kind of not in style back in the day, but it's a lot more prevalent across the board. And then you got to, you know, do all the value things that come into the play of the trade and what you can get for them. And then, like, who's selling, who's dumping, right? Then you got to make those decisions. It's tough, you know. What point do you feel like you become a seller, and what point do you feel like you're a buyer? All those things come into play.
John has had 3 straight games with 100 scrimmage yards and a touchdown. Now that you're 8 games in, has the shared workload with your two primary backs gone as you anticipated entering the season? And do you feel it's been successful in keeping both fresh?
They're just they got such a high capacity to be able to do so much, even more than they've done. You know, like you can see both of those guys, like they have in the past, potentially get 100 yards in the game, and Bijan potentially get 200 yards in the game because his ability to catch the ball at the backfield and to make explosive plays just anywhere on the grass, and like their ability to play together. So like I think they're just getting better and better and better every single week. And I kind of said this, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and I was like, you know, at the end of every game, somebody with all the amount of players that we have, when we talk about Drake and Mooney and Bijan and Tyler and Pitts and all those guys, somebody's not going to be happy at the end of some of those games. But what's been happening is it's been moving around, you know, really nicely as of late. And I'm really inspired by the style of play that we've been able to play. And that all starts with our quarterback and our play caller having the ability to find different people and be able to go through the process every single week and be decisive.
Drake and Darnell both have more than 500 yards receiving. How well do they complement each other's games in order to have success?
Stats are for losers, as you know. But the thing that you went out and got him for is because, you know, like Drake is the big body mover, has always been that kind of guy, contested catches, and also been able to put some stuff down the field this year that's been really looking good. But when you went out and got Mooney, there was no secret. I think we talked about it early in the offseason about wanting the need for speed and being able to add guys like Drake and Ray, and at the time Rondell Moore, you know, guys that can absolutely run at a different speed, you know, than normal. You know, somehow we've normalized 4.3 speed, but when you got guys that can run that, sometimes we normalize 4.4 speed. But when you get guys that can run that, that's just a different separator. And then when you get guys that can run fast and take the top off, particularly when you're talking about even our tight end being fast and being able to make some of the plays he made last week, you want a need for speed. And those guys and Drake have really complemented each other really well. And being able to get the ball underneath, both of them, or being able to take it up top. And they've done a nice job of really feeding off each other.
Raheem, you've coined this phrase of outrunning the South, which is on all the T-shirts now and everything for the team. What does that mean to you beyond just the fact of winning the division? Because everybody wants to win their division.
Yeah, I didn't really mean to do that. But, you know, I was just speaking from the heart. And it's just like, you know, we all want to make the playoffs, right? Everybody in every division. And it's like, in order to do that, you have to be able to win your division. And I think it gets overblown by, like, you know, it's not just winning the 6th game within your division, it's winning the division, right? So how do you outrun them? It's winning all the games so they can't catch you. And we put ourselves in lead position, and man, we got to keep running. Like, you can't look back because you know what they're doing. They're chasing. You know, they didn't stop. So it's like, how do you outrun the South? And you put yourself in that position to do that, keep running.
Just said that, you said that in April. You coined that phrase in April.
Didn't mean to coin it again, but I mean, I was just speaking from the heart, speaking to those guys and just being absolutely honest. Somehow I let these guys talk me into doing a team meeting live, and that came out, and then people just taking it in the room with it. So
You just ad-libbed.
that's normal. That's usually normal.
Being in Los Angeles, you got that, maybe you went to the ground.
It's been there for a long time. I absolutely messed up a press conference one time, and I was, you know, from Jersey, speaking so fast, and I said, what did I say? I said youngery. I was trying to say young and hungry. I was trying to say young and hungry in Tampa, and it came out youngry, and I was like, that's pretty cool. Let's stick with it. But and I absolutely made up a word, but that happens to me at times.
You didn't trademark Outrun the South?
You know, I think I missed the op on the youngery. I think I probably missed it on Outrun the South based on the fact that it's on every T-shirt. So my business savvy people are just missing ops, man.
Raheem, we heard about Kirk Cousins talking to the team. I guess it was in a Friday meeting, and regardless of what he said, how important is it for you to have a player on your roster that is able to kind of take charge like that? And what do you think was kind of what he was trying to express to the
I think the cool part of having a guy like that is because you go out and we were looking for a quarterback to come out here and lead our offense and to move the ball around, to be efficient. But the leadership stuff that you get from Kurt when it comes to those things, and just having the wherewithal to be able to speak to the team and be able to, you know, just be the sounding board for the message. And sometimes let me be the sounding board for his message to the team. And like, I think really that player-led environment is what we talked about within the interview structures, when we talked about in the team structure and what you want and how you want it and who you want to be doing it. And the guys are just kind of falling in place, you know, like Kurt has a real cool understanding of what we want to do and how we want to do it. He has a real process of what he's done over the course of his career and how much success he's had. And I think people want to listen, right? When a guy's had that much success and made as much money as he has some success in his league from a on the field and off the field perspective, I think it'd be only wise to listen when you got a guy like that.
Ellie, what do you think about that hat? You see that?
That's a cool hat. I do
upside
have
down
to admit.
Falcons?
I do have to admit. I think that's a
Do you
cool
like
hat.
the upside down word
Yes,
thing?
I think.
Bailey and I have been going back and forth on this one.
So where do you land on it?
I'm not a huge fan.
I like it. I like
Bailey
it.
really likes it. Bailey had just gotten one as an Oklahoma State alum. She had gotten a Pokes one.
Ah, yeah.
Hey, it's what the cool kids are doing. Clearly, Raheem Morris is a cool kid. So
He does rock that hat. I
yeah,
will
Raheem
say.
Morris rocks a hat. Raheem Morris rocks it all, man. But look, you would hope that Atlanta can keep it going, keep the momentum going, especially coming off a big road win. You're coming back to your own building. You're playing a Cowboys team that has underperformed.
Yeah.
Ellie, you would hope that
One
it can continue.
would hope.
And you
1
would hope-
p.m. kick at the Benz on Sunday.
You would
So we'll see.
hope for the third, fourth, fifth week in a row that we're saying you'd hope you can get some pressure on the quarterback.
Yep.
So time will tell. But this is an Atlanta D-line that has a chip on its shoulder right now. They know they're capable of performing better than they have. Pass rush, pass rush, pass rush. So that's got to be a big key this weekend.
1 p.m. kick at the Benz. Speaking of the Benz,
Aha, transition.
next year, the Georgia-Florida
2 years.
rivalry game
2 years
will
from now.
move to the Benz in 2026, Raymond James Stadium in Tampa in 2027, as Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville, where the game is normally played and where it will be played
Yep.
on Saturday, undergoes renovations to reduce its capacity.
Yeah, so last one in Jacksonville next season for a while. Obviously, we have the one in Jacksonville this Saturday, and then 2025's game in Jacksonville will be the last before, who knows what happens going from there. This is interesting, Ellie, because there's been a lot of push for a long time from both of these fan bases to play this as a home and home, to play this as a traditional home and home game, play 1 year in Athens, play 1 year in Gainesville. I'm all for that idea. I think it's this rivalry game. Jacksonville is just part of it. Jacksonville is just part of the lore of this game.
This is a rivalry game that has been played in Jacksonville since 1933, with 2 exceptions, 1994 and 1995, while the current stadium was being built. Now, those 2 years, it was a home and home. 1 game was in Athens, 1 game was in Gainesville.
Well, you know why they're doing Atlanta and Tampa.
Money. It's a money thing.
Well,
Billy Napier said as much in today's teleconference with SEC coaches. He outright said there's a significant difference in the revenue generated when the game is played in Jacksonville versus when it's played at a college site.
Yes, money for one. But the other kind of just interesting note to this, I think, is that if you give these fans a taste of Georgia-Florida in Athens and in Gainesville, there is no going back. I mean, that is just going to would be an atmosphere unlike anything else, just because of the history of this rivalry and the fact that that many people have been asking for this game to be played as a home and home,
including
for so
Billy
long.
Napier and Kirby Smart.
I mean, they would love it.
They would love it, especially Georgia, because in years where they open with a neutral site game like they did this year, they only get 6 games at home for campus visits. So
Now,
now,
the Mercedes-Benz Stadium is Athens West, so
yeah, and
take
getting
that.
to say, hey, we get to play in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium once, twice, 3 times a year.
Isn't it absurd that 1 year? Well, it was the Peach Bowl semifinal against Ohio State. It was the SEC championship against LSU, I believe, and the kickoff game that earlier that year.
And it could happen again this year.
Yeah, it could.
With the kickoff game, a potential SEC championship, and a potential national championship. So, yeah, the Dogs are plenty familiar with the Benz, and That's why they're doing one in the Benz and one in Raymond James. You're basically giving them neutral site home and homes.
Yeah, truly. I mean, I know Georgia fans and Florida fans, for that matter, travel, but the Benz is going to feel like
Yeah.
a Georgia home game.
Raymond
Tampa's
James
probably
is
going
gonna
to feel
a
like
Florida
more like
home game.
Yeah. So we've got one step closer to the home
Yes.
and home. We'll see.
One step closer.
We'll see.
Moving on to World Series Game 4 last night.
Yeah, how about this?
Yankees fans are out here making fools of themselves. You've probably seen it if you're watching this TV show, the footage of two Yankees fans in the sort of first baseline foul section. As Dodgers right fielder Mookie Betts reaches up for the foul ball, the fan tries to reach into his glove and tries to snap Mookie's wrist back to get the ball out of the glove.
Peak New York.
Peak Yankee fan.
Like, I expect nothing else.
These two guys have now been banned from Yankee Stadium for Game 5. Apparently, they're season ticket holders.
No, I want to say, Ellie, don't fact check me on this, but I'm pretty sure they were banned for
They
more
have
than just.
not been banned for anything beyond Game 5.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. So
And
you know.
according to reports, MLB had to step in and tell the Yankees to ban these two,
Interesting.
which is a bad look for the organization if that is true.
Yeah.
Because this seems like an open and shut case. It's part of the, code of conduct of every Major League Baseball stadium. Don't interfere with the field of play.
Yeah. Seems pretty cut and dry to me, but maybe not to New York. Hey, whatever it takes, right? As a Yankees
Whatever
fan,
it takes.
Whatever it takes.
And
they
these
won.
two weren't the only Yankees fans to make fools of themselves last night. During the stand-up to cancer sort of moment of silence sort of segment, a Yankees fan takes the opportunity to yell, "You suck," at
Freddie.
former Brave, Freddie Freeman. Here's the thing, and I did not know this until this happened, until this incident occurred. Freddie Freeman's mom died of cancer when he was 10.
Yeah.
So, just a terrible look
Yep.
for multiple Yankees fans. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that it's representative of the entire fan base, but come on,
Yeah. They
come on.
be better. I mean, it's the same.
At a World Series game.
Same exact logic with the Dodgers fans throwing things on the field during the NLDS against the Padres. Same
Yes.
exact deal with the Texas fans throwing things on the field after the call they disagreed with against Georgia a few weeks ago. I mean,
Come on, y'all.
you have some level of responsibility as a fan to not be a
To not,
turd.
yeah, don't be a turd.
Don't be a turd.
Don't be a dick.
It's
Sorry.
funny that the radio show that I grew up listening to in San Diego, they have a segment called "Don't Do This."
Yeah,
And
don't do this.
Don't do this. This is perfect for "Don't Do This."
I just, yeah. No, why would you do that? And if you're the Yankees, why would you wait until MLB has to step in and go, "Hey, ban these two for at least Game 5"?
Right.
And realistically, they should receive a stadium ban for life.
Without a doubt.
For not, and this isn't. I've seen a lot of comparisons to the Steve Bartman incident in Chicago in 2003. And as someone who grew up in Chicago, I was 6 during that NLCS. Completely different, because the Steve Bartman play, the ball was not in Moises Alou's glove. It was outside of the glove. Bartman and Alou are both making a fair play for it. The ball is in Mookie Betts' glove, and the guy is reaching inside, trying to open the glove and reach inside for it. And even before the game, they later admitted, yeah, we were joking about it, how we were going to D up if anything happened in our section. Just like,
Yeah, tough look all around. Tough look all around.
oh my God.
Don't do this.
Don't do this.
And
Don't do
we'll,
this.
We'll leave it at that. I'm not gonna watch the next game of this World Series. I'll tell you that.
I mean, good on Freddie Freeman for breaking the record for most consecutive World Series games with a home run.
Yeah.
He's hit one every game of this series.
Pretty
hit
cool.
one in the last 2 games of the 2021 World Series. So going back to that World Series, he's had 6 straight six straight World Series games with a home run. See if he can make it 7 tonight, I guess.
Yeah. What you got here on Major League Soccer, Ellie? I saw you slide this in here.
So apparently, according to reports, I've seen this from Eric Winalda and a couple journalists in Montreal. The Montreal Impact may be moving. Eric Winalda went on a podcast and said an Eastern Conference team is looking to move cities, and a couple French language articles out of Montreal are saying that Joey Saputo, the owner of the, I guess, former Montreal Impact, I still call them the Impact, I'm sorry, is looking to sell the team to potentially a owner that's going to move them to Detroit.
What a tough history for that city, right? You get the Expos,
You got the Expos.
and then the Expos leave.
Expos leave.
Now, one of your only other professional teams leaving.
And I mean, even
potentially.
just going to Quebec City with the Nordiques, like, professional sports just hates Quebec, man.
Yeah,
I don't,
that's tough.
I don't know, man.
Hockey town, right?
Hockey town.
The Canadiens. It's kind of where it's at.
Yeah.
at
So
the
we'll
border.
see if this actually happens. Obviously, a few years ago, we had the whole situation with the Columbus Crew where the fan base rioted, and
Still there?
Don Garber had to step in and force Anthony Precourt to sell the Crew, but he also gave Anthony Precourt the expansion license for what is now Austin FC. So everybody got what they wanted in that situation.
Yeah.
Precourt got his team in Austin. Columbus Crew got to keep their franchise.
It's an
in
interesting
the city.
situation to be in because the league clearly wants to expand. San
Oh,
Diego FC is about to start this
Yep.
year.
And Detroit is one of the more interesting remaining markets for MLS in terms of expansion, because Detroit City FC, the team that the lower league team that already exists, is one of the more well supported in the lower league soccer in United States.
Yeah.
So like,
I mean, that's key, right?
That's
wanna,
key. You
wanna
want that
move
homegrown
into
support.
an existing fan
Yes.
base. Now, flip side of the coin, similar situation in San Diego with the San
Yes.
Diego Loyal. They had a USL team there who basically got forced out as soon as MLS
and
announced expansion.
And that's what a lot of Detroit City fans are worried about: is is the team going to get forced out? Because we don't necessarily want to just.
Well, I can't blame them because the San Diego Loyal fans were super heartbroken when their team
Yeah.
just picked up and left for the MLS team because they had an existing relationship, right? So,
And I
it's
remember
tricky.
this with the original St. Louis City FC, the USL team before MLS expanded to St. Louis. There was definitely that
Yeah.
that concern as well. Although obviously St. Louis City FC, the MLS team, has been super successful from a fan perspective. Their stadium is great. They sell out pretty frequently. So, there has been good that has come of this in different markets, but a team moving and a team, a city losing a team always sucks.
Sure. Sure. What's on your mind, Ellie?
So the Ballon d'Or was announced a couple days ago, and this ceremony had technical difficulties because Lamine Yamal, a Spanish teenager who plays for Real Madrid, was asked, what could it be like if you were the youngest Ballon d'Or winner? Sort of an awkward silence. He later says it's because France Football put a French translator in his ear. He doesn't understand French.
Wow.
Oof.
That's a big
Yikes.
oof. That's a big oof. Yeah, that's tough.
What's on your mind?
Got to go with the 12-team playoff because my Indiana Hoosiers could very well now be a part of that
Give me the
situation.
Oregon-Indiana Big Ten Championship.
I would love nothing more. Now, my question is for all you Indiana fans that are listening. I'm sure there are plenty of you out there. Is it more hurt or harm to get into the Big Ten Championship and then lose? Would you rather miss the Big Ten Championship? I think you would rather miss the Big Ten Championship and not risk losing the Big Ten title game. It's a conversation for another day.
Conversation for another day. We're not running out of time. For Connor Hines, I'm Ellie Parker. This has been ANF Plus Sports Tonight. Go watch some sports.